just ask Jay and Amy Cloud to unmute, and they're down in Kentucky, and these folks are kind of small. I would consider smaller breeders, and have just had some phenomenal success in terms of imported frozen embryo results from Tattykeel and now live babies. So, hi, Jay and Amy. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good.
Hey.
Good. Good.
Thanks for asking us to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and share with us a little bit about your kind of success story. Kind of talk us through like what you guys made an investment in and kind of where things are today.
Well, last year about this time we was getting ready to take things to sale, and we sort of heard about F1s and didn't know really anything about it at this time. So we took things to sell, and we got in the truck and we looked at our check and we're like going, really? We did all this work for this? And so I'd heard of this guy by the name of Bobby Grider, and looked him up, and I called him, and sure enough, we talked for about 20, 30 minutes, and then he invited us down, and we went down and spent most of the day with him. Matter of fact, I was there so long, I was thinking I was going to get supper. I was hungry. And but anyway, and then so it sort of planted the seed on what we wanted to do. And then he talked a little bit about an association, but he didn't, he just talked about it, but he's more or less pushing, I won't say pushing, but he was more or less exposing us to the breed and everything. And that meant a lot to us. So then we're traveling to actually, look at some sheep that we had purchased already. And we're on our phones, computers and everything. And we find a guy by the name of Doug Edge. Didn't know nothing about him other than, he was tied to Australian whites. And so actually started texting a little bit with him, and he texted us back. We're like, wow, okay, this is cool. So moving on down the line in the summertime, we found out that we could buy embryos, and we actually, sorry, Dax, we bought 600, and somehow there was a mix-up, and we ended up with 6 embryos, and you got what you got. No. But anyway,
just joking. He's just a smart aleck.
So
I got the laugh. That was a good one.
So I hope you was able to accommodate them. Seeing your facilities on your Facebook page, I hope you didn't have to build that because of us. But anyway, so we bought 6 embryos, and whenever me and Amy was like, well, we don't know what to do with them, and working with Doug and his group, they was like, well, we're all in, so we might as well go ahead and work with RSG. And we did the recips deal, and we just trusted them to handle everything for us. And I'll have to say this: we scheduled a pickup day on New Year's Eve because of our schedule, and they accommodated us for that. And so we got our ultrasound sheet back as we're driving to a dog trial. We do herding with our border collies, and we opened it up, and we're like, I looked at Amy and said, do you count 5? And, because we went with the option that we're going to get 3. So we took the risk that we were going to do 50% and we were going to do 3. So we got 2, 2, and 1. And so I looked at her and she said, yeah, I count 5. So we emailed back and said, okay, we're counting 5. And he said, yeah, that's, pretty good averages. So we was all excited about that. And then when it came lambing time, actually 2 weeks ago, we ended up with 6. So we were 100% on the ground.
Yeah. And now, I want to pause you there just for a second, Jay. That's phenomenal results statistically. I don't want people to hear this and think, oh, wow, that's the norm. No. That is not the norm for frozen imported embryos. Graham and I are happy when we see that 50 to 55% take rate on them. So to get 100% is really phenomenal. That's why I told you when you called me, you need to go get a lottery ticket because you guys are living right down there.
We didn't, unfortunately.
Right. So that's the reason why I'm telling you, we were, I hope everybody understands, we were confident that we were going to only get 3. And so that's what we were betting on, was 3. And so, but we did that. And, but, you know, we did have a little bad luck. We ended up losing 1 last weekend. And, you know, so we still, you know, Mother Nature has its way. And, but whenever for us, you know, you know, we got commercial Katahdins and registered Katahdins and everything. And they looked a little different when they were first born. And we
a lot different.
Yeah.
So, you know, it sort of freaked us out at first because they were just different. And it was just because they were different hair coat, real smooth, and you could see more of the structure of the sheep. And so we were a little, being first time to see them real up close, we were a little unnerved, but, you know, it's been great. Graham and Doug have been real supportive. Graham has reached out once and, you know, we texted him that night at like midnight because we just come in from the barn and we was all excited, and he hit us back and, you know, expressed his, you know, I guess congratulations where you go like that. So it's been a great experience for us, and now we're thinking about our next move on how we can do it again. Do it again.
Yeah. Understanding that that was beginner's luck for sure.
So